We moved into the old mansion on a cool autumn day. My husband, John, and our 2 kids, Lily and Max, were excited about our new home. It was big and beautiful, with a long history and lots of rooms to explore. We spent the first day unpacking and settling in, enjoying the creaky floors and the musty smell of old wood. That night, after the kids went to bed, John and I decided to explore the mansion. We walked through long hallways, peeking into dusty rooms filled with old furniture and forgotten memories. It was then that we noticed something strange. At the end of a narrow corridor, there was a door we hadn't seen before. It was locked, and there was no keyhole. "That's odd," John said, frowning. "This door wasn't on the blueprints." We tried to push it open, but it wouldn't budge. Determined to see what was inside, John fetched a crowbar from the garage. With a few hard pushes, the door creaked open, revealing a dark room. Inside, the air was cold and stale. A single window, covered in thick dust, let in a sliver of moonlight. In the middle of the room stood an old clock, its hands moving backward. We stared at it, confused and a bit frightened. "It's counting down," I whispered, my voice trembling. But to what? We had no idea how much time was left because the numbers on the clock were old and faded. All we knew was that something was going to happen when the clock reached 0. We spent the next few hours searching the mansion for clues. We found old books, letters, and even a diary hidden in a secret compartment. The diary belonged to the previous owner, a man named Edward. His last entry sent chills down my spine. The clock in the hidden room counts down to our doom. We tried to stop it, but failed. Whoever finds this, beware. I looked at John, fear gripping my heart. What does it mean? What happened to them? "We need to leave," John said urgently. "Now." We woke the kids and rushed to pack a few things. But as we were about to leave, the clock struck 0. A loud chime echoed through the mansion, shaking the walls. The temperature dropped, and a thick fog filled the room. The front door slammed shut on its own. We were trapped. Lily started to cry, and Max clung to my leg. John tried to force the door open, but it wouldn't budge. Panic set in as the fog grew thicker, and shadows danced on the walls. "Mommy, what's happening?" Max whimpered. "I don't know, sweetie," I said, my voice shaking. "But we'll be okay. We have to be." Suddenly, the fog formed into shapes, dark, twisted figures with hollow eyes. They moved closer, whispering words we couldn't understand. The room felt colder, and I could see my breath in the air. John grabbed a fireplace poker and swung it at the figures, but it passed right through them. "Stay back," he shouted, though his voice was filled with fear. The figures ignored him and continued to approach. One of them reached out to touch Lily, and she screamed. I felt a cold hand on my shoulder and turned to see a face inches from mine, its eyes empty and soulless. "Please, leave us alone," I cried. The figures stopped. They looked at each other, then back at us. One of them pointed to the clock, now still and silent. The whispering grew louder, filling our heads with unbearable noise. And then, as quickly as they appeared, the figures vanished. The fog lifted, and the door creaked open. We didn't waste a second. Grabbing the kids, we ran out of the mansion and into the night. We didn't stop until we reached the nearest town, breathless and terrified. The mansion was left behind, locked and abandoned. We never found out what the countdown was for or what those figures wanted. But we knew one thing: we were never going back. Sometimes, in the dead of night, I can still hear the clock ticking in my dreams, counting down to an unknown terror that will haunt us forever.